This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys, good morning. Alright, so yesterday we have discussed the scenario how to copy data from a storage account, to Azure SQL database. So today I'm going to discuss about how to copy a data from, instead of storage account, I want to use another Azure SQL database, cloud database. From that database, how to load this one. Also, I want to discuss about a SQL database in on-premises. So from on-premises SQL database, how to load the data into Azure SQL database. So this is my Azure SQL database. This is my local computer. Here also I have a SQL database. I want to load this data into my cloud environment. Here also I have a SQL database. Azure SQL database and on-premises SQL server. On-premises SQL server and Azure SQL database. This is also another Azure SQL database. So how to load this data by using a Azure Data Factory. So first let me discuss about loading the data from Azure SQL database to Azure SQL database. Then second one I want to discuss SQL database available in my local computer. From on-premises to cloud, how to load the data by using Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory. Okay. All right. So how can we do this one? So simply go over here. Let me log into Azure. Azure.com. Try to sign in. Skip for now 2 days. Sorry. Azure.com. Okay. Sign in. Click on Azure portal. Let me check whether I have a SQL databases, one for source and one for destination. So I'm going to create two databases. It's a free trial version. E-classes project. Database name source database. Create a SQL server. E-classes 1, 2, 3 SQL. E-classes. Reduce the number of I'm going to use elastic pool. So already we have discussed about what is a elastic pool. It is a E-classes pool, and you can reduce the number of DBs over here. Take it basic, click apply, review and create it. Right, so source database has created. Now let me create another database, target database. Simply saying go to the SQL databases, create, free trial, e-classes project. Database name I'm going to give it as a target database, and I'm going to use the elastic pool, whatever we already created. Let's review and create this time. Alright, so two databases created. Let me go to the source database and destination to create the tables. Go to the SQL databases, source database, create one table. So before that you need to set the server firewall, add the client IP address, and allow Azure resources to access the service. Done. Now you can go back again. Where is the target database? Just try to refresh it. Yeah, go to a target database as well. And set server firewall, add client IP. Yeah, it's already done. It is on server level, not on the database level. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to the Azure Data Factory. So go to Home, click on Data Factories, create, free trial version, resource group, e-classes project, e-classes ADR 739 version 2, and just disable this Git configuration as of now. This I will configure later, then review and create it. Create it. All right. So simply go to the resource, open the studio, so what is the first two steps we need to do is we have to create two linked services, one for source SQL database, another for target SQL database. So where we can create a two linked services under the manage linked services, create new SQL Azure SQL database, click continue, and Azure SQL database, this is for source. And what is the integration runtime it is going to use? Definitely it is a auto resolve integration runtime. The reason because whenever you Rajesh, please keep in mute. Otherwise, we will dismiss from the meeting. Okay. So whenever your data sources or destinations are in a cloud, then the integration runtime it will use auto resolve integration that is automatically created by your Azure Data Factory. So both the source and destinations we have under the auto resolve, I mean in the cloud services. Then it will use this auto resolve integration runtime. Okay, so the Azure subscription is free trial subscription. The server name is eClasses 123 SQL and the database name is source database. Okay, test the connection. Okay, create it. Again click on new SQL database. Continue. This is for target. I'm just giving a name as a target auto resolve integration runtime. It's a free trial version. eClasses 123 SQL. This is for target. eClasses and the password is test the connection. Create it. Now we need to prepare two data sets. Where you can prepare the data sets? Author. Data sets means what data you are trying to take from your source systems and where you want to load. So click on new data sets. So what is your data source? SQL database. Select this Azure SQL database and this is ds underscore src source Azure SQL table. Which table linked service? Source linked service already we created. What is the table you want to take? So we haven't created any table over here. Let me create one table under the SQL databases immediately. Go to the source database. Query editor. Click connect. Click OK. Okay, so a source table has created. Similarly, I want to create a table in the target database as well. Okay, let's go to Azure Data Factory. Try to refresh. Take the EMP table. Then click OK. See here, this is the linked service. This is the table we are trying to take. Do we have any data? We don't have any data in source system. Okay, let me go to the another data set to be created for target. New data set. I will create quickly SQL, Azure SQL database. Click continue. So this I'm going to give it as a DS underscore target Azure SQL table linked services. The table name is, click OK. Alright, so this is the destination over here. So now we need to create a pipeline. So go to the pipelines, new pipeline. So this pipeline name I'm going to give it as a Azure SRC2 target. Alright, so then take a copy data activity. So copy data activity needs the source from where you are trying to take the data, that is which data set, and destination which data set, this one. And you need to do the mapping, import the schema. Schema means from source and destination, whatever the column names we have, you can able to map over here. And coming to the source, so you can able to see you are taking data from EMP table. If you want to write down any SQL query to query the data, you can able to write down a query as well, like select star from EMP where salary greater than 1000 rupees. Only these people you want to query from your source, and loading the data, you can able to write down the query as well. Or if you want to use a SQL stored procedure also, you can use the stored procedure. I want to take the data from the table only, query timeout. So how much, within how much time you want to execute this query, you can put, and isolation levels and partitioning options. So this we will discuss later. For example, if you want to add any new column over here, so you can able to click on the new additional columns. When you are clicking on new, so I want to add a new column. The new column name is inserted date. So how will you get the inserted date? So inserted date you will get, you can derive a new column by using the existing column, or you can write down the any of the expression over here. See here, add a dynamic content. If you want to add any dynamic content, you can able to add, like what is the time we have, the time is, or any pipeline name you want to load, or pipeline trigger time means when it has executed, pipeline name, trigger type. So when this whenever this pipeline got executed, that time if you want to insert over here into this column, you can able to insert. So it will generate this column as well. Then you can go to the sync, and under the mappings in your target table you can add one more column. So where we can add one more column, let me drop this table and recreate drop table EMP. Okay, Let me add one more column, insert date as a date and time column. Run it. Okay, now we can go over here. Let me try to
Ram, it is not executed. Table script. There is a issue in data type. Yeah.
okay. So now I'm going to import the schema here. Right, so a new column has derived. This column value is not coming from your source, if you remember. Am I right? I derived this column by adding a new column over here, that is inserted date with the trigger name. Okay, perfect. So validate the entire pipeline, so no issues. Then go to execute, click on debug. Let's see here, data has loaded. Do you want to see here Azure SQL database to Azure SQL database? We have loaded the data, and rows read is 0 because we haven't inserted any records in our source system. Okay, now my requirement is in my local computer I have a SQL server. So simply go to the SQL server in your local computer. Okay, so SQL, I'm going to connect to my SQL server. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to copy a data from on-premises SQL server. Instead of cloud SQL, I want to take the data from on-premises to the Azure cloud environment. Okay, so how to connect to the, how to create a linked service to on-premises SQL database you created for cloud services, right? At the time we have taken integration runtime as a auto resolve integration runtime. But if you want to connect to on-premises local computer SQL servers, the integration runtime what you are using, whatever you are using, it will not work. So you need to use a different integration runtime. So there are three different kind of integration runtimes available in Azure Data Factory. So out of these three, the auto resolve integration runtime already we have discussed, and the second one is self-hosted integration runtime. So inside the self-hosted integration runtime, we are using to connect to the private and virtual networks. Private networks means in your local computer. So auto resolve integration runtime to connect to the cloud services. Then self-hosted integration runtime, self-hosted integration runtimes to connect to the private and virtual networks. To connect to the private and virtual networks. Alright, so how to set up this self-hosted integration runtime? This you need to install. So already I think I have installed. Let me uninstall first. Integration. Okay, I think I don't have. Okay, let me, how to set up an integration runtime first. Go to integration runtime. Auto resolve integration runtime is already automatically it will create, but I want to create a new self-hosted integration runtime. Click on Azure self-hosted, click continue, select this self-hosted integration runtime, click continue. I'm going to give it as a self. Click on create. So you can download and install integration runtime automatically. Okay, click on download and install. Click on download. Which one? This one I'm going to do. Click next. So you can also do the parallelly in your machine. Windows 10 operating system is required.
Now, is it possible to merge the data from source Azure SQL database and local SQL database and send to destination Azure data Azure SQL database? Is it possible? Merge
Yeah,
and send.
that's what we are trying to do, right?
Okay, because just now we already send the data to destination, right, from Azure SQL database. Already we
Azure
send.
SQL loaded. Now what I'm trying to show is how to take data from on-premises SQL. On-premises SQL is a bit different.
Okay. And how can we track Elastic Pool? Like we are sharing the resources, right? Is there any way to track? Okay, it is sharing the resources. Something. Is there any way to track them?
In Azure Data Factory.
Hmm.
Yeah. So see here, that is under the monitoring. You can able to see once you are publishing the triggers. So step by step you will get. Those topics are in further.
Here in this diagram, Ram, like here we are getting source database like Azure SQL database and on-premise SQL server, right? So here we can merge and send to Azure Data Factory. Is it possible? before Azure Data Factory itself, that directly I'm planning to merge these two things.
No, by using copy data activity, you cannot able to perform that. So to perform any kind of merge kind of operations, what you need to do, you have to use another activity, data flows activity.
Okay, before going to, going to use this Azure Data Factory, you mean?
No. Inside Azure Data Factory only we have another activity. Currently, what activity I'm using to copy the data?
Copy.
Copy
Okay.
data activity. To do the merging and all those things, we have another activity that is a data flows. That is one of the activity. I will show you that activity. Go to author. Under that, you can see there is a data flows. I'm using currently copy data. So inside the copy data activity, you cannot perform any kind of transformations. Just take source, load into destination. That's all. In between, you cannot do anything. But data flows you can able to do like your SSIS or Informatica or Teradata, whatever the transformations you are doing in between source and destination. To do that one, we need to use the data flows.
Okay, got it.
Ram, can we do this copy pasting with using the data flow also?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Can we create a table in target database dynamically?
Yeah, you can. How to create? So simply go to copy data activity. Please put in your mute our question. So simply go to copy data activity. See, for example, if you want to create auto table, go to the sync. Yeah. So table option, instead of specifying the table, you can specify auto create a table. So automatically creates the table based on your source structure. Whatever the data you are getting from source, right? The same table structure will be created in your target. So already I created a table. So if you haven't created, if you want to create at the time of loading, then you can use auto create table option.
Can you just walk through the different types of activities so that we will get some fair idea on that?
The activity will take some time to discuss. So in one session, how it is possible. We'll go one by one. Currently, we are discussing about copy data. After
No, we
copy
are
data,
not. No, I'm not saying like everything. So just overview of that.
you mean all the activities in a single
Yeah,
shot.
overview. Where what it is there.
Based on the situation, based on the scenario, I will discuss each activity.
Okay.
So we will discuss. I have written already what are the activities we want to discuss. I hope already I have. Yeah. So what are the activities I want to discuss in this training part is, I will discuss this copy data, data flows, and under the general we have so many activities like append variable, delete anything if you want to delete, if you want to execute any pipeline, if you want to execute SSIS package, and if you want to get a files information, metadata information, lookup activity, if you want to run stored procedures, and assign a variable, validation any files available or not, if you want to, web activity to send the email notifications, wait activity, and iterations like a filter for each loop, conditionally looping of if condition, if else, switch function, until. So these are all the activities I'm going to discuss. Apart from that, there is a notebook activity I'm going to discuss. So these are the activities we will discuss. Now it is almost down to
Yeah,
completed.
not fair idea on that. Yeah.
So let me install this one.
Is it possible to create this schema dynamically, Ram, by using our
Which
metadata?
table?
No. In the source you have
Yeah,
showed that schema, right?
auto create table, right? So this auto create table will create automatically in your target table based on your source structure. Okay, let me install this integration. Source and destination column names should not be always same. Okay, when you are doing the mappings, it should not be, it is not mandatory to make both same. So I'm going to connect to my source database as well. Batch 48 connect. Go to downloads folder. Okay, I think it will take some time. It will need at least 30 minutes of the time to perform this installation. Sorry, at least 15 minutes required to do this installation and setup. Let's discuss this scenario from on-premises to the cloud environment in next session on Monday. Okay.
Okay.